Greetings and salutations. This is Query and Schultz on the ISC Sports Network, the charitably award-winning Query and Schultz program, creatively and appropriately named. My name is Jake Query. I'm a broadcast professional. I am sitting next to a guy that looks like a combination between Ted Lasso and a warning photo in your post office because of the world's most horrific, ridiculous, immature, and disgusting mustache. His name is Derek Schultz, and this is miraculously episode number 88 of this program, probably because the first 87 did not feature such a disgusting hair lip. Derek, good to see you. How was the race?
It was excellent. I had a wonderful day yesterday. Are we going to do this or are we not going to do this today? Can you handle this?
How could you not have trimmed or shaved the mustache before you came in here? You look so incredibly ridiculous.
I wanted to do it. I'm literally going to trim it when I get home because my wife said, this is the last night of you sleeping in the bed if you do not trim it. You have to sleep on the couch. And so I was like, okay, I reset deadline, but I said, honey, I've got to tape the show today, and my internet friends are expecting to see the mustache. And she said, well, it's either me or your internet friends, so if you don't take it off today, then you got to go downstairs.
Can you list for me the names of these internet friends?
Well,
is this like
Matthew
high school all over again?
In Maine. Hi, Matthew in Maine, probably watching. Nate Marine, who I rode to the race with. Bicycle convoy with Nate Marine and his buddies. A great group of guys and gals. They all love the mustache. I pulled right up, and they were actually speechless for a while. And then they realized that I was part of their bike convoy, and then they knew, oh, okay, this is okay. This is a trusted person that we can have bike to the race with us. But, I mean, so many others, Jake. I don't want to make it about me because today's not about me. It's about, the Indy 500, and we're going to recap all of that. But of the things that have been universally celebrated in the 10 years that we've been together, you living through your heart attack was number 2. The mustache is number 1. That's how I would rank them. Like the most special outpouring of support that we've gotten on this show. You almost died. That'd be 2, and then the mustache would be number 1. So, congrats, you made the top 2.
Marcus Ericsson yesterday, because we're taping on Monday, Memorial Day, by the way, thinking of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, of course, for this nation. Marcus Ericsson wins the 106th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. And, Derek, I'm trying to think of the last mustached Indy 500 champion that we had. I believe
was there one post-Rahal?
I think it would be Bobby Rahal.
Okay.
Meaning it's been 36 years since.
Yep.
Probably no coincidence there. Your thoughts on the 106th Indianapolis 500 and that man, the Swede Marcus Ericsson, going for the win?
Let me get some positives out of the way first. Positive number 1, the weather could not have been better. And I know that it heated up, and I know the track got hot. And we could talk about the racing conditions. I think that's a separate discussion from the day. The day itself, to me, was spectacular. Outside of the 2014 race that Hunter Ray won, that is the best weather that I can ever remember for an Indianapolis 500.
Hard to argue that, man.
Just not a cloud in the sky, just perfect. And just the people, the energy, it just felt right.
It was pretty awesome.
The race itself, I thought, was kind of meh. I did not think that it was a great race. I don't remember any significant passes for the lead that weren't voluntary. Like, Pillow and Dixon were kind of pair skating early on and trading out the lead, and other people were kind of letting people pass because they were content to not lead in that race. We knew that the drivers during the month of May said that they were concerned about passing. And while you did see some action in mid-backpack, as you usually do, Ferrucci, there were some guys that were really charging. Rossi made a big charge there early on. McLaughlin had a great ride until he ended up hitting the wall. But out front, there wasn't a lot of action. There was a lot of follow the leader. I think the world of Marcus Ericsson's ability and his F1 pedigree, and I think that he is a worthy champion. But I think ultimately the 2022 race, outside of it being kind of the first real race back where you had everybody there, will be a little bit of an afterthought.
It's hard to argue.
No offense to Ericsson. I mean, Ericsson could go out there and win 3 of these. I mean, I have no idea. But if this is the only win that Ericsson has here, I think it'll be one of those, oh, yeah. Sort of like, I'm trying to think of what would even be a good comparison.
Kenny Breck?
I really like this guy, but Buddy Rice. Great. Buddy Rice, cool dude. Cool shades, California guy. He won the race once. I don't remember anything the only thing that I remember about that race is that my buddy Butner, we sent him out with $50 to get firewood for our campsite in the Coke lot, and he came back with bottle rockets and cigarettes. That is the only thing that I remember from the 2004 Indianapolis 500. Like we need heat. Like we need to eat food, we need to cook food, and we need heat. It's cold out here. And he came back with $50 worth of bottle rockets and cigarettes.
Did you shoot up the bottle rockets?
Oh yeah, hell yeah! And we smoked the cigarettes.
Okay.
But we froze all night and we didn't eat anything.
Okay.
That's the racing experience. That's how it goes.
How old were you in 2004?
21.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I was legally able to do all that.
Did you have the mustache?
No. I had like a chin goatee, which was not.
You were like a little fat kid.
Not
then,
a good
right?
look. No, I wasn't fat. Muscle weighs more than fat. I was lifting a lot then. Okay. So I was just a little bit thicker.
This is a race, Derek. We were talking about this earlier. Scott Dixon Scott Dixon set the record during the course of the race for the most laps led in the history of the Indianapolis 500.
Incredible, by the way, right?
You know,
what an incredible thing to attach your name to.
And yet he has a Indy 500.
Yeah.
An Indy 500, you would say, in 2008. Now, that's a very cool shot, by the way, behind us. Think about Peyton Manning. If Peyton Manning had not won that final Super Bowl with Denver, and if his resume was won the Super Bowl with Indianapolis, went to Denver, got blown out of the building by Seattle, then that argument would be made of, did Peyton Manning need to get that second one that he never got? I'm saying if he had not won in Denver. And when he had the chance to get the second one, he let it go right through his hands. He didn't play well, whatever. That's kind of what Scott Dixon, I think the world of Scott Dixon. But in terms of his resume at Indianapolis, is he Peyton Manning had Manning not won that Denver game? Because he has all the records. He has all the accolades. He's smooth as can be. He's a great qualifier. He's got multiple poles, but he only has the one win. And when the second one was there, it was his mistake. And I'll give him credit for saying it was his mistake.
Well, let's take the butt out of it. And let's also, full disclosure, team sports versus individual sports. I know these guys have racing teams. It's difficult, right, to make those comparisons. How about this? If you take the butt out of it, is he Drew Brees? Yeah. Dixon's had an amazing career. Brees is all over the record books. Passing yards, and I know Brady has passed a lot of those, but he's number 2 in a lot of those categories, and Dixon is up there and
Dixon
wins.
does at least have.
I mean, do people think of Dixon in the same light as Foyt or Mario Andretti? I mean,
What's interesting
he's an unbelievable all-time great.
He could
I don't think
end
he's
up
those guys.
passing both of them in the all-time wins list.
Yeah, but pound for pound, would anybody consider Scott Dixon a better driver than either of those two guys?
Yeah, and part of that's era.
Yeah.
Listen, the race came down to this, and let me begin with this. This was a race that, to Derek's point, at the beginning of the race, the first half of the race, basically, it was Scott Dixon was clearly the class of the field, along with Alex Palou. And they alternated leads, and that's by design because they're teammates, and they were telling them, listen, we need data on both. We need to conserve as much fuel as possible and to continue to have both of you guys running up front. Keep swapping the lead so that you are getting good fuel efficiency. And then Palou had an incident where he got penalized with the drive-through because he came in when the pits were closed.
Just horrible luck.
Terrible luck.
Like a tenth of a second, I think, for Palou. It ruined his day.
And then Dixon comes in for his second-to-last pit stop. And I think it was his second-to-last. And he suffers a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And, I mean, he blatantly was speeding in the pit lane.
How do you make that mistake if you're him?
Understood.
How does that happen?
But Derek, here's the thing. And I wish parents could all listen to this. After the race, fairly quickly after the race, Scott Dixon said, listen, and I'm paraphrasing, my team gave me a great car. We were fast. And we ran great all day. I made a mistake. That's what he said. I made a mistake. Yeah. One of the greatest drivers of his era. I made a mistake. My team did their job. Everybody gave me what I needed. I made a mistake. We live in a world now where there are 15 million middle school and high school travel baseball players that are all going to be first-round picks whose parents are convinced they've never made a mistake. We live in a world where you go to a high school or an AAU basketball game and there are fights breaking out where people are attacking referees because there's no way that the coach or the players on the floor made a mistake. One of the greatest of all time in his sport, statistically speaking, was able to say, I made a mistake. And to me, that was incredibly impressive about Scott Dixon and why he will continue to be a front runner for this race.
And the blessing and the curse of this place when it comes to this race. As much as it is about skill, you have to have luck and you have to have everything go your way to win that race.
Right.
You do. You have to have everything go your way. And sometimes you have a pit speeding penalty. Sometimes something breaks under your car. What? Right, Andretti in 92, where didn't he have a fuel pump that just broke?
Yeah.
Why in the world did that happen? It just happened. Now Dixon's got to wear it because he was under control there. You know, Palou and Dixon's bad luck were different circumstances. Palou was not in control of that situation. Right. That was just horrible, awful timing. But Dixon, it was just shocking, Jay, because I think he would have won. And that's what fascinates me about Ganassi's day, because Dixon was a disappointing 21st. Palou actually rallied back, I think, for a top 10, didn't he?
He did.
Which is incredible that he did that, but he nuked his day because of that. Jimmy hit the wall, yet you still had two-thirds of the podium.
Listen.
With Kanaan and Ericsson.
Yeah. What's funny is if all the talk about Chip Ganassi's cars coming into the month and throughout the course of qualifying and everything else, all of it, 5 cars for Chip Ganassi. All the conversation, Palou, Dixon, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, I made
nothing about Kanaan and Ericsson.
I made the joke to you last night. I think I might have made this to Rakestraw on the media center. There is no question in my mind that Marcus Ericsson signed by far the fewest amount of autographs of anybody on the Ganassi team in the month of May.
Oh,
by
no
far.
doubt.
Well, actually, maybe Jimmy, because those NASCAR guys don't sign. But
you do need luck.
Yeah.
You need a good car. You need good teamwork. You know what you don't need to win the Indianapolis 500?
What's that?
A mustache.
Well, these guys are trying to be a little bit more sleek. Every 100th of a second ends up helping them. So I know they don't want to get any drag from this. I'll tell you what, on my bicycle, if anything, just feeling the breeze in my stash made me pedal even harder. Made me
You had to pedal harder
motivated
because of the drag. Right?
Even more.
Did you know that there's horrifically disgusting gray hair in your mustache?
There are a couple of gray stragglers. There's some in the center.
Looks like maybe you had some issues blowing your nose.
Well, I have a little bit of a cough today, as you noticed in our ride up here. I made a rule that I wasn't going to trim a single hair. And so even the grays, I usually cut out the grays. I didn't cut out the grays. I just let them grow. And there's one real scraggly one right here that kind of hooks in.
That's good. Thank you.
And it goes under
the
entrance of my mouth.
Appreciate that.
And so that's the one that often gets food on.
It's time, by the way, for our Love That Play. We're going to do it early in this program because it's very fitting. And when it comes to programs and tradition, it is something that comes early, as a matter of fact. And it's perfect for Love That Play because Love That Play is brought to you by Love Heating and Air Conditioning. Love-HVAC.com. 317-353-2141 is the telephone number. That's 317-353-2141. They've been around for over 100 years in the area. Very simple reason for that. Number one, great product. Number two, knowledge of that product and how to install it in your home and get it working. Number three, commitment to customer service. Because if there's anything happens, 24-hour on-call maintenance. Love Heating and Air Conditioning. That's what you get, folks, from a local family-owned business. And a family-owned business where generation 3 of the 4 generations, Phil Love, Derek, I don't know if you knew this or not, Phil Love, a United States Air Force veteran.
I didn't know that.
Flew in Vietnam and then was with the Guard and continued to fly. Still is a pilot to this day. But it is perfect that Love Heating and Air Conditioning would be associated with our Love That Play because our Love That Play is
the flyover. I thought it was the best part of yesterday. I mean, usually the pre-race festivities, the race itself is great, the energy, the whole deal. But the pre-race festivities and the start of the race, to me, are the highlight. And I don't remember them. Somebody said that they started doing the double flyover in 2019. I don't remember that.
That may be right.
I don't remember
it.
Yeah,
that's right, because, they've come back and then done, the extra lap and then taken off.
Okay, I don't know. COVID kind of, that pause sort of messes with your head and timing and memories and all of that. So I didn't remember the double flyover, but I'll tell you what, I didn't think about the balloons at all because I was still cheesing about that.
Right.
That flyover,
Well, the
it was
second part
incredible.
where they came, I've never seen this. And
Were they split like
Greg
that?
Rakestraw may know this. What were those in terms of?
Like F9s?
But I mean, what
have no idea.
air group was it?
Oh, I have no clue.
Was it Thunderbirds or was it
Thunderbirds? Okay.
Thunderbirds? Okay. The thing to me, when they came back, the second flyover during back home, when they all went in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Now, did they plan that?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be rough, wouldn't it? If it's like, Frank, I thought you were going left.
I like when they do the stealth bomber because it's kind of creepy, like the world is about to end.
You don't see it coming.
I know. But that flyover was just, it was
awesome.
Just loud, and the smoke trails, and the crowd was jazzed. It was really cool.
May I ask a dumb question?
Yeah, every question that you ask on this show is dumb. Go ahead.
Do they still do the stealth? Is the stealth still like?
I remember seeing the stealth recently.
Is it still in the fleet?
I remember seeing the stealth do a flyover recently, like within the last 5 years.
At the Speedway?
Yeah.
I remember the very first year they did it, and it was like, oh my goodness.
Maybe that was a Brickyard that they did it, but they brought out the stealth recently when I was there for a race. Yeah.
I mean, that's when you know it's the greatest spectacle in racing, because when you see the number of people that were there, and I've heard 345,000, that probably is a little bit exaggerated. I think 310 is very fair.
Yeah.
When you see that crowd, that weather yesterday, you see the flyovers not once but twice. Literally, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, except for that it's every year in this city. But, Derek, there's no denying the level of special event that it is when you see all that.
Yeah, and it was just, Jake, you were there last year, and LEO won, and it was a special day. It wasn't the same. The infield was empty. Well, 2 years ago, it barely counts. Right. Nothing against Sato. He's a deserving champion, but I
was just really glad. Thank goodness in the Sato year that a repeat winner.
The Indianapolis 500 in 2020 never happened to me. From a fan standpoint, that race did not exist because you can't have that event without having what we had yesterday.
In terms of the true event, you're right.
Again, I'm not taking anything away from Sato. He's a deserving champion. They ran a race, but that wasn't the Indianapolis 500. And even last year, it was less than. But it was special yesterday. And our friends at Only Indy Tickets, I know, were excited to see all those butts and all those seats there. And along with Doug Bulls, Only Indy Tickets and the folks there, probably the most excited of anybody.
Can you see
and just because the month of May is over and the 500 is over, doesn't mean that the calendar stops for Only Indy Tickets. No. It is concert season.
That is correct.
Starting, you know what's happening this weekend, 3 nights.
Guns N' Roses?
No, think about the crunchiest jam band that there is. Legends.
Ben and Jerry's.
Best live show that you could possibly imagine. You talk about the energy of the 500, times that times 10.
Grateful Dead.
3 nights Fish. Coming up this weekend, following the 500. Yeah.
Are you going?
No, I'm not really a concert guy. Yeah. Not really a concert guy. I have been to concerts, but I'm just not much of a concert person. But I have friends that are really into concerts. My folks love concerts.
Derek just spent, well, here's the good news. Apparently there's an extra ticket on onlyindytickets.com because somebody with a disgusting mustache, he's the only person with disgusting facial hair apparently not going to go see Fish, right?
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Also, Jake, I have an exciting announcement from our friends at onlytickets.com.
Okay.
We have our Hanson grand prize winner. Congratulations.